Good job, Trista.
Thank you.
Trista's behind the controls today because apparently I can run my mouth really well. I think we all know that.
No,
It's not really a brag. I'm like bragging
Right.
on myself because I just talk too
I
much.
need
But
to learn how to run this.
you're doing an excellent job. Don't overthink it.
So far.
So today, we haven't done a podcast in a little while, and I'm glad that we are back up and running. We had some time off with some other things going on, but we're here today to talk about Narcan, and hang with us, and we'll do our introductions when we get back.
Our mission is to promote strategies and policies which ensure improved health for all citizens of Nowata County.
Okay, we're back for the most entertaining podcast to date. Every single one that we do from now on is going to be super entertaining. We've got our wall decorated now. We need more stuff. We're just going to keep piling on. We want local artists. We want local businesses that we partner with. Anything community involved, by all means. If you watch this and you've got an artist that does a little sculpture, we got shelves for it. If we got a little painting, we'll put something up there. But we're just going to keep adding to it. The podcast keeps getting more fun and more informative. The more people we get to watch, the more we can inform people about the community and community health. And for today, we're talking to Crystal and Taylor about Narcan. Crystal is the lead for...
I am Crystal Blagg with the PFS. I'm the program director.
And I am Taylor McElhaney, and I am the youth coordinator.
So, what is Narcan?
Narcan is like our shirts say, it enables breathing. If someone is in an overdose, you can give that to them, and that will bring them back out of an overdose. Do you have a better explanation for that, Taylor?
Yeah, so Narcan, basically, it's also, another name for it is naloxone, but it is just an opioid antagonist, so it basically just blocks the body's receptors to an opioid, and it just kind of says, no thanks, and the Narcan takes over and brings your body back into kind of an alignment.
We should mention that Taylor is an EMT, so
She is our expert on this.
resident expert. Yeah.
So, for layman's, if somebody was to be watching this and this is a brand new thing to them, or they had heard about it, so if somebody takes some kind of opioid, whether it's a street drug or over the counter, and we have some stories about over the counter misuse, accidental, it happens, and we have a story. Crystal, will you share a little story about that?
Well, yeah, it is.
And
personal,
Trista actually has one as well.
Personal story. My husband had surgery. He was on some medication prior to surgery. And then after surgery, the doctor had switched that. I mean, we were keeping track of it on the card every so often and realized it was actually a different medication. And so his breathing had slowed to the point. I actually did not have Narcan in my house at that time. So I do now. Trista had some. She's a couple miles down the road, and I was to the point I was going to go to her house and get hers. So, yes, it can happen within the blink of an eye. And it was accidental.
And this is coming from somebody that runs a grant and is very familiar with it, and knows essentially how it works. And accidents happen very quickly whenever it's a drug that makes you sleepy. And what are the side effects of like opioid? Like it just makes you...
Yeah, it kind of just relaxes everything, and that includes your body's ability to breathe. So if you take too much of it, then that's when your blowing slows down, or your breathing, I'm sorry. Your breathing slows down, you can fall unconscious that way, and then your heart rate will eventually slow down as well.
So it's there as a preventative. So for layman's, if I was taking a medication, and I don't take a lot of medication, so keeping track of it, I'm not as regimented. I forget to take my allergy pills, and I am so mad at myself because I'm dripping nose all over, sneezing and everything. So I can imagine a drug that makes you loopy or tired, and then going, man, I'm not feeling good, I need to go ahead and take some more. It just happens that fast. Do you want to tell your story off camera, or do you want me to paraphrase, like your mom was prescribed some?
Oh,
I'm talking to Trista here.
Yeah, here, wait.
Oh, she's doing...
Hold on.
The webcam, the engineer button.
Yes.
Look at this. This is webcam view. Look at that.
Hey. I was trying not to be like way up close. Okay, so, I mean, I don't really have a story per se, but my mom just had hip surgery not too long ago, and she was prescribed, I believe, Norco. I don't remember one of the many that they prescribe, and she was not informed about Narcan. They didn't write her a prescription for that as well, with the amount that she had to take. And so of course I talked to her about that, and she had no idea what I was talking about. And I mean, this is a lady, like, I always characterize her as like the female Mr. Rogers, because she's a retired 5th grade teacher, you know. So but yeah, Mom had no idea. And then when I explained to her what it was, she was like, well, I'm not a junkie. I'm not going to misuse this, you know? And it's like, no, obviously, you know, you're not that kind of a risk, but you could forget what you took and when you took it and how much. And that's where the risk for, you know, most people comes in.
And just not knowing about how powerful it is, the A10 button. Not knowing how powerful it is a risk. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. And so so for laymen, so if I go and I take some of this medicine and I don't realize how it affects me, and I overdose, and my wife was to come in and give it to me, what that's basically doing is it's shutting down the receptors that takes in the opium. Mm-hmm. And potentially could overdose, so it shuts them off, so I'm not receiving enough. Now, am I in the clear? Am I safe?
Absolutely
What do I do after
not.
that?
You are not. So, I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, but from what I know, naloxone works for about 30 to 90 minutes, and after you give Narcan, you always want to call 911, because there's a potential for a kind of a relapse on your overdose. So if the Narcan wears off, there could still be enough opioids in your system to cause you to overdose again as soon as it wears off. So after you administer it, you always want to call 911, and that way if there is a relapse, then you'll have somebody there to help you take care of it.
And we can't emphasize that enough, which is why we do a training.
Yes, we do a Narcan training the last Tuesday of every month here at the office from 10 to 1. Takes about 20 minutes. We feed you lunch. So then once you watch that training video, then you'll walk away with some Narcan.
And the video is very adamant about, this is not take this and you're in the clear, go to the hospital. Or is it do they need to call 911? I know
Yes,
some people are
absolutely. Once you administer it, you are to call 911.
Okay. And so this brings up part of the controversial part. There are people in the medical field that feel like, oh, this could be an enabler. We literally have a shirt that said Narcan is an enabler, and I was sitting with my arms crossed, and somebody's like, hey, I like your shirt. And I realized my arms were crossed because it was covering up the bottom part on my fat belly that said enables breathing. And so I just wondered, were they against Narcan or were they for Narcan? And I just wondered about that, and I never did get a chance to clarify that. But so that's the elephant in the room with this. There is some controversy that it's an enabler. Well, it enables breathing. It keeps people alive. And if you use it correctly and you follow the instructions, that's why there is a specific training to say, once you've used it, go to the hospital. This does not mean that you're in a clear and you can continue to use. We're not trying to enable. We're not for that. We want everybody to get clean and have all the resources they need to get clean. There was a story. Do you guys know well, you guys were the ones that told me. The one about the police officer opening the trunk?
Yes.
Tell that story.
I don't know much about it, just from what I had heard from my dad, but he, I believe, opened...
Who's your dad?
Oh, my dad is Chief McElhaney from Nowata. I believe the officer had opened the trunk of the suspect's vehicle, and he had touched an opioid. I'm not positive on which one, so I'm not going to even pretend to know. But it was enough that just the absorption through his skin had caused his breathing to stop, and thankfully, I believe the story goes that the officers there had Narcan and kind of saved his life through that. But, I mean, with things nowadays, you never know.
And it's a drug that if you come upon somebody, you use it on someone, and they are not in an overdose, it will not harm them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they hit him with it like 4 or 5 times?
Yeah, so you can give Narcan actually every 2 to 3 minutes, and there's no maximum limit on your Narcan. So you can give as many as needed. It basically just says to keep giving it to him every 2 to 3 minutes until breathing is adequate.
What if they overdose on Narcan?
There is no overdose on Narcan.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
It's, what do they call that? Inert?
Inert.
Yep.
Inert. Yeah.
So we put some Narcan out in our blessing box just in case if somebody was, in a dire situation and that they, the situation that they're in, they were at high risk for that. That if they realized what it was and they needed it, they could have it on hand. So here's this medical, looking device or not device, whatever.
Looks
And-
like an Afran nose spray.
So it's no big deal. Even if somebody was to try to abuse it, they're not going to get any high off of it. You're not going to get anything from it. It's as safe as anything could possibly be. Let's see. Have we talked about everything? What else
Well,
is
I
there?
mean, it's not just for someone that's misusing drugs. It's
Right.
for that grandparent that accidentally takes one too many. It's for that child that accidentally gets into those parents' prescriptions. So it's not just to have on hand for for somebody that is using.
Yeah.
I think we all agree. There's people that have made mistakes in our lives. We've all made mistakes in our lives, and sometimes we get caught up in stuff and don't even realize it till we're to a certain point. And even if somebody is using, that doesn't mean that they're not a human being and they don't deserve another chance. And I know that there are tons of stories out there. I don't know any off the top of my head, but if it's something that shocks them and wakes them up and they end up in a hospital bed, that might be the turning point for them. It might not, but who are we to judge at that point? We're giving them a chance to live. And I know for a fact that there are people that have turned their lives around because this saved their butts and they go, I didn't realize it was that bad. I was just having fun and blah, blah, blah. I end up in a hospital bed. Now I'm turning around. And there's plenty of people that use those types of stories. I mean, we've hired a couple of people come talk to school systems and stuff like that about their poor choices in the past. But now there are people going out and inspiring and teaching kids and other people and, educating people about this is my story. Don't go down that road. Please learn from my mistakes. So at the end of the day, they're a human being that's made mistakes or is just in a bad spot. And it's just another shot of or another opportunity. I think as ignorant as I am about it, I think that probably answers most of my questions. Can you think of any other questions that get asked all the time?
I mean, we're at 12 minutes.
12 minutes, so it's time for the wrap up.
Yep, I don't think so. Just a reminder that we do the trainings here at the office the last Tuesday of every month from 10 to 1. And after that training, you will walk away with Narcan in your house.
And a ham and cheese sandwich.
Oh, that too.
What else while we're here talking about this? Do we still have the drug takebacks?
Yes, we're
I know
doing
some stuff had changed with the boxes.
we always do we have a prescription drug take back that we are doing at City Drug on November 15th. But at any point in time, there is a drug take back box in City Hall, right inside the City Hall. If you go pay your water bill, trash bill, you can just take any leftover medications in there and drop those off. As well as we have safes, prescription drug safes here in the office. If you have a need to lock up your medications, feel free just to stop by. We've got several options.
Okay.
Very cool. So we have resources to work on this opioid pandemic. It is totally a thing throughout the whole United States and beyond, and it's everywhere. So you have resources to address it as much as we possibly can at this point.
Okay.
I think that's it for Narcan Day at Nowata Can.
That's a wrap.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for being here. Taylor, you're always here. You're